Hey everybody, it's Jay and Nick, and we are here to report on our last race at Gingerman. It is a great time of year there. The sun is out, the leaves are turning. It's always a good time. And this race happened on our literal sweet 16th birthday, also hella sweet.
Think of all the things we could have been doing for 16 years.
Yeah, sad but true.
We had a new judge at this race, Judge Shelley, aka Tammy Dirtson from South Carolina. She was super awesome. She painted her nails to correspond with the flags. The black flag? Yeah, you could probably guess which one that was. Shelley brought with her many great new penalties. She had the Shake Your Booty penalty, where the team had to tie a cup filled with beans around their waist and then shake their ass to make all of the beans spill out. That was hella sweet. She had teams tell a calming story time with an old golden book she had found. That was awesome. We deflated one of a team's tires and made them use an ancient, found in the back of the garage, Sears hand pump to get it up to optimum pressure. And then after that, we did bobbing for hot dogs, which was gross. We also had Make a Judge Laugh, which turned out to have been given to the unfunniest team in the entire paddock, which shockingly was not a Porsche 944. Look for more from Judge Shelley next year. We also had a team bring us one of those impossible bikes with reverse gear on the steering. Everyone wanted to ride it. Nobody managed to get it more than a couple feet as a penalty. So those were very lengthy slalom runs.
Hella sweet, the Scuderia redecorated their former Ferrari F1 car in honor of their friends, the Polka Kings. Polka Kings Midwest, great guys. They had their own eventful weekend, but at least they're loved.
Yes, the Polka Kings had a tough weekend. They racked up black flags and had to do a dance-off with Judge Shelley. Went about as well as you would expect, and then they got parked anyway, which is fine. Everybody has a bit of an off day, but Sunday went much better. They finished the day with a perfect black flag record. They beat their paddock neighbors, Dirty Mike and the boys, in a friendly wager. They, just look.
Yeah, this was a weirdly flamey event. Mike Bierge from Log Dog, he cobbled together what he calls the Death Trike. Guess what happened next?
Continuing the flaming wreckage theme, Ted and the East Side Boys have this Chevy Cavalier Z24. We called this a Quad 4 on social media, which is apparently a deep affront to Michigan natives. We want to sincerely apologize for getting this wrong. It's not a Quad 4. The engine in this car is an LD9 2.4 liter twin cam, which is obviously much easier to say and technically accurate since it's not a Quad 4. Secondly, we are truly shocked and dismayed that after 79 laps, that one of the rods shot out the backside of the block and caught the car on fire. Pretty weird, right? Well, it only gets weirder.
Yeah, Cavaliers figured very prominently here. I mean, what with it being Michigan, there were two of them. There was the not quite a Quad 4, and then there was just the boring old auto trans push rod clangety clang. Now, we all thought going into this thing, whoa, what's the clangety clang push rod? That's gonna dominate, right? No, actually, one of them was like 78th place with 79 laps. The other was 79th place with 70. I mean, it didn't matter. They were equally terrible.
Hella sweet was Lemon Ice in their Ford Mustang. Easiest Mustang theme in the world if you can just commit to it. Obviously, it is a Vanilla Ice theme. And really, when they come back, they should do a Cool as Ice theme.
Cool as Ice being what exactly?
Only the greatest movie of all time, starring Vanilla Ice.
Real quick, hella sweet, failure-prone toys. New team, but they brought back the rotary phone converted Chevy S10, which, by the way, has the same clankety-clankety-clank push rod 2.2 as the Cavalier. Totally awesome.
But Terrible Bad Decisions Racing is retiring their Pontiac Transport minivan after this race. It is one of the greatest Lemons vans of all time, and there have been many. It has been themed as a Black & Decker Dustbuster, a Nushin JB 6500 Chinese minivan, a Ukrainian tractor towing a tank, Bad Decisions Dog Grooming, Bad Decisions Tree Service, Get Shorty, an LAPD paddy wagon from some straight-to-video movie, USS Enterprise's shuttle from Star Trek, a doorstop, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles van, a Velocity Yellow Covfefe racing van, Princess Vespa's Mercedes from Spaceballs, and of course,
Hella Sweet 7/10 Racing and their Mercedes compressor brought a new Harry Potter theme, including the race number 9 3/4.
Jay, you big Harry Potter fan?
Welcome to another year at Hogwarts.
On the subject of fine German machines, Monkey Paw Racing brought their Opel GT back. Now, their problems in the past have not been related to speed, and therefore they solved all of their problems by putting a Camaro V6 in this thing and doubling the horsepower, and thereby doubling their ability to rack up black flags. But it threw down the 24th quickest lap of the weekend.
So they dominated Class C, right?
Yeah, nah.
On the subject of looking awesome and not dominating, the Buick Riata was back, and it actually really ran this time, and it turns out the driver's also terrible. Hella Sweet Street Fighters, they have this Honda, they drive it to the track, they race all weekend, and they drive it home. And I think this is the secret, because you are really motivated not to do dumb when you know your race car has to take you home again. And they ran a great race.
Your overall winner was Flying Pigs Racing, and we usually don't even acknowledge who wins a race, but in this case, it is a Mustang with 100 pounds of plywood on it. That's awesome.
All right, let's move on to the awards that we actually do care about, starting with the heroic fix. Dumpster Fire Racing has a Triumph Spitfire. We pity them. They showed up, I don't know, a couple of years ago. These guys don't know how to wrench. Triumph didn't know how to make a car. It went about the way that you would expect. Somewhere along this journey, they had the brilliant idea to swap in a 2.3 Ford Ranger motor. They didn't, however, think to change anything else, so the 140 rippling horsepower totally destroyed the rear end of this car, which was, designed to handle 30 probably. The obvious fix is just weld it all back together. That's what they did in England way back when, and they did that, but then later they're talking to these MGB guys, and the MGB guys say, "We got a hot tip for you." Turns out they knew that the late Dwayne Bailey, SCCA British car racer extraordinaire, had basically bought every performance Triumph part on the globe, and he lived 40 minutes away, and then he passed away. They tracked down Dwayne's executor of the estate and convinced them that they needed to go and get these performance parts. They did that, put it back in, and it worked. And then they just had to spend the rest of the weekend tracing down minor little things like Lucas Electrics catching on fire, another half shaft snapping in half, exhaust manifold coming apart, EGR leak, the ketchup bottle overflow reservoir melted, fuel hose failure, and the clutch pedal falling off. It was a pretty good weekend.
Not bad. The special trophy was the Sucks to Suck award, which went to Distracted Motorsports and their Merkur. Now, we had 2 Merkurs at this race, which does not happen frequently, so we did the natural thing and we tried to create a little bit of artificial beef between the Placebo V8 swap Merkur, that's usually competitive for an overall win, and Distracted, that is not competitive. So we had Placebo pull up and say,
"Sucks to suck."
Now, Judge Shelley, like 99% of the automotive world, has no idea what a Merkur is or how to pronounce it. So for the entire weekend, her shorthand for this duel was the Sucks to Sucks, which is how we will now refer to Merkurs, probably forever. At the end of the weekend, only one of the Sucks to Sucks was running, and it turned out to be Distracted Motorsports Sucks to Suck. So their Sucks to Suck got the trophy.
Judge's choice went to Idio Racy, you gotta think that one through, and they're essentially bone stock grandma's Camry. We always joke when a Camry rolls up and go, "Ha ha, did you just get that from your grandmother and put in a roll cage?" That is exactly what these people did. And it did what Camrys do. It just kept running. They didn't really get around a whole lot of theming. They didn't need a whole lot of theming. They did bribe us with Werther's candies, which I thought, very grandma appropriate. Love this car.
We gave out something we called 2 races, 1 cup. Don't think about that too hard. It came from the rookie team Here for the Beer Motorsport, who bought their Mini Cooper off of eBay Motors.
I bought this on eBay.
These mini racers showed up with a Stanley Cup style trophy they had made out of a beer keg, and they wanted to do the Stanley Cup style trophy presentation wherein you get to put your name on it and then it keeps coming back over and over every time they do a race. They let us choose who to give it to. We had 2 races in 2 weeks, and we had 3 teams run both of them, so we gave it to Product Design and their Saturn, which finished 11th and 7th with a Saturn. We thought that was awesome. They are the inaugural winners of Here for the Beers Cup.
Organizer's choice went to Hell Kitty. This is the car and driver team that's been racing for, a dozen years at this point with this car. Now, the late Tony Swan started this team. His wife, Mary Sealhorse, has sort of inherited it. She's very smart. She's the captain, but she just says, I don't want to do any of that. Like, you guys just show up. And then she walks in at the end. So these guys this time, they had to put a new motor in the car. They had to fix the fuel cell. They were very late actually getting to tech. I think they were the last car through. And yet they were laughing, having a good time, wrenching, enjoying themselves. And when they got out on track for possibly the first time ever, they didn't piss anyone off. This was an outstanding comeback for these guys.
This being Michigan, we have many Ford Focuses that race, and usually they do well. In this case, not so much. And before we get to the I Got Screwed, which, spoiler, was a Ford Focus, let's talk about the other Ford Focuses. Bad Mother Focus, bit of rod knock. Out of Focus blew up their turbo and rigged up some janky pump system. Mofoco rolled over, and the guy who rolled over, for some reason his name keeps coming up as Kia in the registration system instead of Kai. I don't know what that's about. And Rocket Road Racing finished 3rd. Yeah, pretty good.
So the I Got Screwed trophy, that is why we had the whole Focus rigmarole there, went to a Ford Focus. Team Hail Mary had a very good Blue Angels theme, down to the intentionally misspelled Angels. They brought a carrier arrestor setup. They had great costumes. They were wearing them all weekend. They had a whole shtick in the driver's meeting. This was really good, and they were just kind of squeaked out for Halloween meets gasoline. But the other way in which these guys got screwed is there was a little on-track incident, and it basically cleaved half of their theming right off onto the ground. They'll be back.
The actual eBay Motors Halloween Meets Gasoline trophy winner went to the silent but deadly Space Pants division and their Ford Thunderbird. We aren't typically in the business of being held ransom, but it was pretty clear that if we didn't put a stop to the Space Pants theme, it would continue indefinitely.
Space Pants! I am wearing Space Pants!
With that in mind, and with that godforsaken song stuck in our head, we decided that it was time for it to end once and for all. So under the condition they never bring that theme back, they won the Halloween Meets Gasoline trophy.
That takes us to the IOE, which for the first time was won by an ambassador, because this is the first time we have had an ambassador. And I do not mean a Hindustan ambassador. Well, that would also be awesome. I mean an AMC ambassador. The Kenosha Kickers are a bunch of drag week guys. They found an AMC ambassador for $700, and the captain said, nobody stops me, I'm going to buy this. So he bought it. Being drag week guys, they had to put an LS motor in it. But being drag week guys, they had to ruin it by taking all the good stuff off and putting a carburetor on it. With mismatched manifolds, by the way, because couldn't actually make it fit. They didn't change anything else. Stock squishy suspension, drum brakes, 2-speed power glide automatic, because, drag racers, every time they got in the car, it would go brrr, and then drive down the road because everything was horrible and soft, and yet they kept driving it around and around. This was one of the most magnificently stupid Lemons debuts we have seen, one of the hooptiest cars we have ever seen, and you know what? They finished the race. Really well done, guys. I don't know why everybody doesn't do this.
I don't know either, but here's Lemons in a nutshell.